Let me ask you a couple of questions. You make a point in your book that General Washington had to learn some hard lessons, primarily about building unity in his army and with the government. What can we learn from him?
Well, we can learn a lot from Washington. Let's consider him for just a moment. What has he got going for him? I mentioned some of the things he had going against him. He's got a big brain, organized for executive action. He is willing to take responsibility. He's willing to make decisions. He's got a good eye for subordinate talent. He recognizes, for example, that an overweight 25-year-old Boston bookseller named Henry Knox is going to be the father of American artillery. He knows how to pick his men. He's robust. He keeps himself fit. For almost 8 years, it seems as though he never even catches cold. That's very important in a military commander. I think it's very important for leadership to project a sense of robustness, of energy, and he does that. I think the things, and most of you have leadership responsibilities of one sort or another, and you can look back in history and you can pick those leaders that you think speak to you somehow. And Washington is a good example. I mentioned he is very imperfect in substantial ways, and yet he's got things going for him, including diligence, including a willingness to put the job at hand above his own personal worries, above his own personal benefit. If you're not in public service and committed to that, get out.
That's a great answer. I'll hope you're all listening. You made the point that the adversary, King George, wasn't really what he was made out to be. Did Washington know what he was really like? And did he know what he was up against in the sense of what George meant to the British Empire?
Washington knew he was up against the British Empire because he had been a Virginia militia colonel during the 7 Years' War, always under superior British command. So he knew what the British Empire had gone for it, which was a lot. He knew he was up against the greatest navy, the Royal Navy, the world had ever seen. The greatest navy the world had ever seen. The Americans have no navy to speak of. He never would know George III personally. Washington was a real radical. He was deeply committed to the cause. And George III became the emblem of everything he was fighting against. And so he tended to caricature him as Americans did, and as Americans have, frankly, for 250 years. Part of that is tactical. I think you want your soldiers to do what you want them to do. You show them that they've got an enemy, and you tell them that that enemy is an ogre, that he's a tyrant, that he's a bully, that he's doing everything he can to keep you from having the kind of life you want for yourself and your family. Washington certainly participated in that. I think he believed it more than he disbelieved it, but he did not really have a full understanding of who George was. Washington never left America, except as a young man. He went to Barbados once early on. He would never go to Europe. He would never go to England. In 1779, Franklin from Paris wrote to him a charming, beautiful letter saying, I'm looking forward to, when this is over, you coming over here and I will show you around the capitals of Europe. We'll look at them together. You'll find that you will receive a great reception here in Europe. It never happens, unfortunately.
Referring to him as a radical is an interesting concept. What do you think, from your research and all that you know about it, what do you think our founding fathers and our mothers would say to us today, as leaders, political leaders, as Americans?
Thank you, Mayor. Well, I don't want to pretend that I'm channeling them, but one of the things they would say today, October 1st, when the government is shut down, is get on with it. They'd say, get on with it. Well, look what we went through for you. We didn't go through this for you, risking everything, our lives, our sacred fortunes, our honor, for you to bicker all the time. They wouldn't be surprised at all, because we come from bickering stock. whether your family came here 300 years ago or whether they came here last year. Bickering is part and parcel of what we do. So that would not surprise them. I think what they would find aggravating is the inability to compromise, because everything about this country is predicated on compromise, including and especially the Constitution. So the inability to find common ground, to speak civilly to one another, to put the generations coming after us ahead of our own petty concerns right now, I think they would scold us for sure, and we would earn it.
All right, thank you. Now, look, you've written books on the Revolution. You've written books on World War II. You're adept at the history of a lot of really cool and important and significant events for us as Americans. I want you to pick one or two figures, maybe one or two from the Revolution, or maybe a couple from World War II, and tell us what they can do. How can they help us? So give us some people to study that we could look to for some guidance.
Yeah, and there are a lot, and there are a lot to study to avoid what they fall into. Benedict Arnold would be case history number one. Washington is the long pole in the tent for the Revolution. I spent almost 15 years writing about the American role in the liberation of Europe in World War II. North Africa, Sicily and Italy, Western Europe, beginning in Normandy. And the long pole in the tent for those Mediterranean and European campaigns is Dwight Eisenhower. And the two of them, even though they have nothing in common in terms of their backgrounds, Eisenhower's a poor kid born in Texas, raised in Kansas. Washington, one of the richest men in Virginia, becomes even richer when he marries the richest widow in Virginia. They've got a lot in common as leaders. So you can't go wrong studying either of them and recognizing that both of them have feet of clay. Both of them are flawed, deeply flawed. Neither of them is neither of them is Napoleon. Neither of them is particularly good tactical leader on the battlefield. But they're on a higher mission than that. I'll mention one other person that some of you will know, but many will not. Second only to Washington as the indispensable man in the Continental Army is Nathaniel Greene. Nathaniel Greene is a lapsed Quaker from Rhode Island. He's an anchor smith. He's got very little military experience. Washington first encounters him when Washington takes over the brand new Continental Army in the summer of 1775 in Cambridge outside of Boston. Greene shows up. He's a brigadier general. He commands the Rhode Island contingent in the National Army, the Continental Army. Greene is like Washington. He's got a big brain organized for executive action. He's willing to make decisions. He's willing to take responsibility. Again, Washington, with that eye for subordinate talent, recognizes that in Nathaniel Greene, he's really got somebody who can be the deputy that he needs. When things are darkest, in that awful winter at Valley Forge, the winter of 1777-78, when more than 2,000 American soldiers die of malnutrition, of bad clothing, of disease, and the entire American Army supply system is collapsing. Men have nothing to eat. Horses are dying for lack of fodder. Washington turns to Greene and says, I need you to be my quartermaster general to put the supply system back in order. Greene says, I don't want to. Nobody in history ever heard of a quartermaster general, quote unquote. Washington said, you gotta. I need you to do this. And Greene does it, and he does it brilliantly for 2.5 years. He does what's required of him, and he's going to be the chief battle leader the last 2 years of the war, which are almost entirely in the South, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia, and he's going to be brilliant doing that too. He's a tragic case, and he's worth reading because he's really a very interesting character. He's self-taught. He's a tragic figure. The war ends in 1783 after 8 years. We got a nation to build at this point. We've got a republic to put together. Greene's not there because he ends the war bankrupt, as so many of them do. He's got no money. He's spent it all on his troops for the most part. he's given by Congress as a reward, as compensation for his commitment to the cause and his many sacrifices during the war, several confiscated plantations in Georgia that have been taken from loyalists. And so this Rhode Island anchorsmith moves to Georgia and becomes a planter in Georgia. And in it's June of 1786, I think it is, he's out, it's hot, he's not wearing a hat, there's no sunblock in those days, and he keels over with sunstroke and dies. So he's not at the Constitutional Convention. He's not, unlike Henry Knox, that overweight 25-year-old Boston bookseller who Washington makes the first Secretary of War. Greene is not there to help the new nation find its footing and to move into the republic that we became. So Nathaniel Greene is somebody that I think we need to remember.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to have you, and I hope you've enjoyed hearing a little bit about the founding revolution of our country. Thank you again for coming, and we're very glad to have had you.
Thank you, Mayor Walker. Thanks very much.